This is the knee lever, or John Wayne sweep. The basic idea is to take their hip past their trap knee, and if you can prevent them from posting and basing out, you can sweep them, or at least set up another attack. It's a very simple, efficient move, and makes for a great dilemma pairing with butterfly sweeps, where you can take them to the outside with the knee lever, or take them to the inside with the butterfly sweep, which is why you see butterfly guard players like Marcelo Garcia and Adam Wardzinski use this position. So it's a great backup tool for your butterfly guard game, and a very strong option from half guard. So let's go over the 3 things you'll need to make the move work. For any sweep, we need to move our opponent's center of gravity past their base of support. In this case, that just means get their hip past their knee. In the knee lever, your feet will block the trap knee from the outside, while your inside knee connects to your opponent's hips and tilts them over. Therefore, we call it an inside knee tilt. The key detail is to lever off the floor rather than just turning your knee in. Think of it like hip thrusting off the floor versus abducting. So the power comes from the drive off the floor. But an important question we have to ask is where we aim our knee at. Because even if we have a lot of power, if we're not precise, our power might not be transferred very well.
But precision beats power, and timing beats speed.
And generally, I shoot for the hip pocket or tailbone. Adam Wardzinski has a lot of success placing his knee in front of the hips. As he describes it, he tries to hit them in the stomach.
Okay, so it's very important to keep this knee free. It has to be free, so I'm able to raise it up.
And this makes it much easier to maintain your knee shield because they never step over your bottom knee. So if things go wrong, you don't end up in a smashed half guard. However, when their knee is above your knee, you want direct contact with their hips, as close to the tailbone as possible, which gives you a great bite on their hips. And that's why instructors like Sean Williams emphasize placing the foot very shallow towards the knee.
What's going to give you a great result is to have just that little hook at the end of the lever and the top of the lever totally free, and then we'll be able to move our training partner around.
And so Sean and Adam both recommend a shallow foot position. The difference being that Adam aims for the front of the hip pocket and Sean aims for the tailbone. But either way, move the hips. If you just focus on that,
You're gonna be able to at least move people around and get them off base.
Now let's get into the next step in making this work. Part 2, block the knee. So now we have the basic idea behind the inside knee tilt. We need to move their hips over their knee. But if your opponent can freely move that knee, they're going to base out. Or much worse, they're going to pick their knee off the floor, which will make it impossible to bring their hip over their knee. These are scenarios where you should not try the knee lever. Instead, you should just play a half butterfly. But if your opponent's knee is on the mat, we need a few ways to block it from moving. And the first one I recommend you start with is a foot-to-foot method. This is the one Danaher and his students teach. This has the advantage of pinching around the hips, so you're attached and tilting them rather than just pushing. So we do a block and drive where we block the knee from the outside and drive the hips from the inside. Adam also recommends placing your foot just outside the knee, but it's not the only way to do things. Blocking anywhere from knee to mid-thigh works. In this case, it's the shin of Marcelo's butterfly hook. And when you plant the outside foot lower towards the mid-shin, your hamstring or the back of your leg will block their knee. So don't obsess over the exact placement of your feet. There's variations with figure fours, butterflies, and much more. Just move their hips over their knees. So anything that blocks their knee will work. Whether you cross your ankles, use your hamstring, use the foot, use the shin, it doesn't matter that much. In this example, it isn't even a tilt. It's a straight up launch, and you basically feed them into a modified scissor sweep. But now onto the last part of our equation. Part 3, stop the post. The last thing we'll need is to stop our opponent from posting their arm out. If your opponent can plant their hand, they can take a big back step and recover their base, especially in more parallel positions like Adam Wardzinski's method, whereas the deep knee lever behind the tailbone tends to be more perpendicular, which makes the angle of the back step a little bit weaker. In other words, if you're sweeping to the left, you want their head on the left. So if we can stop that arm from posting out, even if they backstep, we can start scrambling up. And there's a few ways we can go about controlling that post. In the gi, we can use a grip over the sleeve, and Sean Roberts often makes use of a lasso grip, but any grip on the sleeve will tend to produce good results. But in no-gi, the most common way to do this is probably with the 2-on-1 wrist grip. This is the method Kaynan Duarte uses very successfully, and it's relatively easy to get to. The main idea is to bring their wrist or elbow in towards our center line, or even better, past it. And in MMA, a simple over tie around the glove produces a great grip because your elbow will catch into their glove. You can also make use of overhooks, which can do a good job at trapping the elbow, but you should probably be careful because it gives them an underhook and half guard, which is pretty much always a bad thing. So be sure to time their forward pressure if you use this overhook. And although you can use the knee lever to dig for underhooks, in most competition examples, you won't find yourself in a great underhook position. Going for the underhook when you're flat on your back is not that strong. You usually don't end up in a good position to actually sweep your opponent. Instead, I think it's better to take an elbow post, where it's way easier for you to threaten the wrestle up.